Ever since I released Rework Pro for IR6500 rework station, the most common question I get is how do I connect it to Windows 11 and use it on Windows 11? The application that you can purchase from me works on Windows 11 no problem. However, if you connect the USB cable to this machine, Windows will tell you that the driver cannot be loaded, the COM port doesn't show up. And then you start the program and it cannot communicate. And that's typically the question I get. Then my first question is, are you using Windows 11? Yes. Have you modded your machine to work on Windows 11? No. That's the problem. For weeks now, I've been promising you guys that I will develop a mod, a simple mod for this machine to work on Windows 11. And finally, it's here. Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient is our rework machine, which has been modded extensively. We're not going to get to that in today's video, but what I'm going to show you is how you can connect this little module instead of this little module to use this machine on Windows 11. We will also take a quick sneak peek to Rework Pro version 1.1. The module that I'm holding here can be acquired on eBay in my store. At the moment I will only be releasing 3 of these, but I have more parts coming and there's going to be more available. So you can pre-order, or you can just email me or submit the ticket that you need this module. Now this module is not very expensive and you can build it yourself. Parts are available and it's not very hard to do. However, if you want to save some time, you can purchase this module from me, and as you can see we only have 3 wires numbered 8, 9 and 10, and they go to their respective pins on the controller, 8, 9 and 10. Simple as that. So now let's disassemble the machine and I'll show you how to replace it. In addition, what we're going to do is we're going to put the second thermocouple in the second input of the PC 410 controller, which will allow us to read the bottom temperature from our software. Step 1, you want to disconnect the top heater assembly and remove it completely so it's not in our way. We're going to take Phillips head screwdriver and we're going to flip the machine so we can gain access to the bottom. Then we're going to remove these 4 screws that hold the bottom plate and the feet. Once the plate is removed, as you can see I already removed this, but there are 4 screws over here, so you want to remove those 4 screws and take this board out. This board is connected through these wires over here, so you want to disconnect it. And you can keep that as a souvenir. This cable can be left hanging or you can remove it completely. I leave it in just in case I have to connect the original board. This is the back of our main controller. We have pins on both sides. They are numbered from 1 to 10, 11 to 20. The numbers are printed on the case over here. Cables that we are interested in, 8, 9 and 10, connect to 8, 9 and 10 over here. Those 3 in the back. When you open the controller, you will note that there is a cable across these 2 pins. These 2 pins are 16 and 17. To those 2 pins we're going to connect an K-type thermocouple. I just had one laying around. It's not the best choice for this machine, but for now it'll do. Now be mindful that the red or the positive goes to 16 and the negative goes to 17. If you flip those around, you're gonna get negative temperatures. I routed my thermocouple through the hole over there and routed it outside to the bottom heater, and it just rests on the bottom heater. Now it would be much better if this was the same thermocouple that we have connected to Rex, and it would be touching the bottom of the board. We would have much more reliable reading. That's why the thermocouple that I used is not the best for this application, but it'll do for now. Now once we connected our modification board, it comes like this, so I recommend you just put some electric tape on it or something to insulate it. For now, what I do, I just put it across this little hole, like so, and I just let it hang over here for now. Some people make 3D printed modifications to these. I don't necessarily recommend it because typically you use PLA to 3D print, and PLA has very low temperature, melting temperature and deformation temperature. So when working with machine that primarily operates on high temperatures, 3D printed parts probably are not the best, but try it and let me know how it went. Next, replace the plate. Note that the port on the device now is not USB type A as it normally is on this machine originally. It is instead USB mini. So you cannot use the original cable unless you have a converter. So what you need is another cable. Now let me just quickly mention, because I received a lot of feedback regarding the stability of the machine. After examining how this is built, it is very unreliable circuit. Not to say that mine is super reliable, but it is more reliable and built in better quality than the original circuit. Now let's power on the machine and connect with our software on Windows 11. Now let's select a COM port that we connected it to. Connect. And we have readings from the PV, our top heater or our external thermocouple that touches the board from the top, and bed temperature, which is this one over here. If we touch it, the temperature goes up. Now, as far as the new features of Rework Pro version 1.1, we have the ability to calibrate Zone A. We have access to Community, where we can download profiles and upload profiles. This isn't working just yet, but we're working on it. And one feature that you guys asked for is a long preheat cycle. So we can set it to, say, 45-minute preheating. And whatever temperature we set on the Rex, it's going to be held. Now this is the limitation of our controller, because we can't upload a longer profile than 999 seconds, or probably actually even lower, because we only have 3 digits. But since Rework Pro is an active controller, it just does the magic for you. And if you want to keep it for 45 minutes, you can. And that is pretty much it. Now your IR6500 is compatible with Windows 11. Now, how does it work? Why does it give us so much problems? The PC410 controller doesn't use a regular TTL output that you normally get from any kind of converter. You can get these converters for relatively cheap, say $10 for a converter. And you just route the RX, TX, and ground to the controller and connect it to the computer. Computer sees it as a COM port, and it sends and receives data. However, PC410 uses RS232, the old school RS232, which means it uses split rail. So as opposed to sending data on a single rail, 5 volts being 1, 0 volts being 0, the rail is at -8 and it goes to +8. So the range of voltages is different, and the current goes in 2 directions, not in 1 direction. That's why you can't use those on this controller. What you need is a real RS232 interface. Now those no longer come on the motherboards, not the modern ones. You can find some older motherboards that do support RS232, but those motherboards in turn will not support Windows 11 due to lack of proper TPM on board. So what needs to be done is the voltages need to be converted from TTL to RS232 and back to TTL. For that, we're using a converter, the MAX232, which converts those voltages. So in this package, we're getting two devices. One is the standard FT232, and the second one to convert those voltages. And all that comes in a relatively neat package, and it is very quick and easy to install. As far as the MAX232, it's a regular charge pump. Now, as you can see on the original board, the size of capacitor is very small for the charge pump. That's probably what causes this board to be relatively unreliable. Now, you might not notice that, especially if you don't use the software. But if you use my software and you check the logs, you'll see that from time to time, something times out, the machine responds with error. All of that is because that cap is very small, the quality of soldering is very poor, and the board layout is questionable. Now, if you don't live in the US and the shipping is going to be too expensive and you want to build one of these yourself, hit me up on Discord. I'll send you the schematics and instructions how to build it yourself and where to get the parts. It's not very hard, but the parts are tiny and it is relatively time consuming to actually build it. That's why I'm offering this on eBay, and the link to that listing should be in the description. And with that, I wish you guys best of luck resoldering, reflowing, and replacing. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you, and I shall see you in the next one.